Hello students, I am going to teach you bio which is of 29 marks out of your 80 mark science question paper. There are 6 chapters in your bio and we are going to start with the first chapter today, that is cell, the fundamental unit of life. We call cell as a fundamental unit of life. Why? See, there is a long history behind the discovery of the cell. It happened in 17th century, in near about 1665, when a mathematician or he was physicist also, who was Robert Hooke. He was not a biologist, he was a physicist, and he was observing a slice of a cork. Cork means it's kind of wood, you may say. So he was observing that wood through his own made microscope, and what he observed in it, he found that there are small chambers there in that particular slice of cork. उसको ये लगा कि ये बिल्कुल हनीकॉम जैसे छोटे छोटे चैम्बर्स जो हैं, ये क्या है? He called them as cell, means a small room. Later it was observed that he was observing only a dead cell, because in a wood it is only a dead cell. Then later on in 19th century, these two scientists, Schwann and Schleiden, they gave a cell theory. Normally we define cell as a fundamental, structural and functional unit of life, which has some organelles in it and which is surrounded by a proper membrane known as plasma membrane. हम सेल को ऐसे डिफाइन करते हैं कि वो स्ट्रक्चरल, फंक्शनल और फंडामेंटल यूनिट है लाइफ का, जिसके आसपास एक प्रॉपर मेम्ब्रेन होती है और वो मेम्ब्रेन होती है प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन. देन इन द केस ऑफ प्लांट सेल, दैट plasma membrane is covered with another envelope, and that envelope is known as cell wall. So Schleiden and Schwann gave the cell theory. They said that cell is a fundamental unit of life first, and the second point of the cell theory is that each and every organism is made up of cell. उन्होंने सेल थ्योरी में 2 पॉइंट्स दिए कि हर एक लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म सेल का बना हुआ है और सेल जो है वो फंडामेंटल और स्ट्रक्चरल यूनिट है लाइफ का. उसके बाद में अगेन इन 19th century, Rudolph, he added one more point to the cell theory. He added that every cell comes from pre-existing cell. So overall in a cell theory now we have 3 points, that cell is the structure and functional unit of life first. Second, every cell comes from the pre-existing cell. And number 3, that each and every living organism is made up of cell. This is known as cell theory. Now, how can we observe the cell? First of all, as I told you that the first cell was observed by Robert Hooke, and he used his own instrument which he called microscope. उसने अपने आप ही वो माइक्रोस्कोप बनाया था और अपने ही बनाए हुए माइक्रोस्कोप में उसने सेल को ऑब्जर्व किया. बट इन प्रेजेंट एरा वी हैव डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ माइक्रोस्कोप्स. वी हैव लाइट माइक्रोस्कोप, वी हैव different structures of light microscope like simple microscope, compound microscope, and we have electronic microscope. Electron microscope जो होता है वो प्रॉपर सेल के अंदर के ऑर्गेनल्स को ऑब्जर्व करने के लिए होता है. इट्स वेरी कॉस्टली ऑल्सो. सो then afterwards, Anton von Leeuwenhoek was the scientist who first observed living cell. Robert Hooke was the discoverer of the cell, but he discovered the dead cell. Anton von Leeuwenhoek, the scientist who discovered the living cell, the living protoplasm. Now, on the basis of the number of cells present in living organism, we just divide living organism into 2 groups, 2 categories. This is unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Uni means one, multi means many. जिन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स की सिर्फ एक ही सेल की बॉडी है उनको हम क्या बोलते हैं? यूनिसेल्युलर. और जिन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स की बॉडी एक से ज़्यादा सेल से बनी हुई है उन्हें हम बोलते हैं मल्टी सेल्यूलर ऑर्गेनिजम्स. मल्टी सेल्यूलर ऑर्गेनिजम्स दे हैव प्रॉपर डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर. यानी जैसे हम अपना एग्जाम्पल लें, हम मल्टी सेल्यूलर है, हमारी बॉडी में ट्रिलियंस बिलियंस कितने सेल्स हैं और हमारी बॉडी में हर एक लाइफ प्रोसेस के लिए अलग अलग सिस्टम है, अलग अलग ऑर्गन्स हैं. Like kidneys are for excretion, stomach is for digestion, lungs are for respiration. इसी तरह से यूनिसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिजम्स में भी खाली एक सेल होते हुए भी just because of the cell organelles which are present in the cell, they have division of labor. Different organelles are meant for different work. Now, if we talk about the smallest cell in the world, सबसे छोटा सेल वर्ल्ड का क्या है? That is PPLO, pleuropneumonia-like organism. PPLO is the smallest cell, and the largest cell is the ostrich egg. जो ऑस्ट्रिच का एग होता है, हम एक एग किसी भी बर्ड का हो, that is a single cell. The yolk is the nucleus. तो ऑस्ट्रिच का एग सबसे बड़ा एग होता है, दैट्स व्हाई इट इज द लार्जेस्ट सेल इन द वर्ल्ड. एंड इफ वी टॉक अबाउट आवर बॉडी, इन आवर बॉडी द स्मॉलेस्ट सेल इज RBC and the longest cell is neuron, nerve cell. That's all for today. Thank you.